Hello and welcome to this Rivemont MicroCap Strategy monthly update for February 2023. My name is Matthew Martin and I'm a portfolio manager at Rivemont. Before we begin, I must mention that this presentation is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations or investment advice, and if I talk about companies during the presentation, Rivemont may hold positions in these companies and may trade on them at any time without prior notice. So let's start with a snapshot of the Rivemont MicroCap Fund as of the end of February. The assets under management were the same as last month at 11 million. The annualized return since inception was 4.3%. It's up from last month, so a second positive month in a row for the fund. And it's even better this month because it was in the context of a tougher market. If we look at the indices, across North America, most were down for the month. So it's good to see that there's a bit less correlation between our stocks and the broader market, and we were able to end up with a positive performance despite the tougher market conditions. In terms of portfolio positions, we ended the month at 22. It's up one from the previous month, and I'll talk a little more about that shortly. And finally, the concentration in the top 5 holdings was the same as last month at 54%. So talking about investment strategy, first of all, we had quite a few financial results for the month of February. Actually, 5 of our portfolio companies reported the financial results. And for the most part, we were very pleased with the results. Our companies are continuing to progress well and grow their revenues and profits. The main exception, unfortunately, was Microbix Biosystems. And I told you a little bit about that last month because they published disappointing financial results in late December, and the stock took a hit after the results. And for the first quarter that they just reported, it was again disappointing, but this time I think it was pretty much priced into the stock already. The market was expecting it because the management team had telegraphed before that the first half of 2023 would be weak. So it's disappointing, but I think we've hit the bottom now in terms of financial performance for Microbix, and we look forward to continued progress from quarter to quarter for the rest of the year. We also initiated a new position during the month. It's a company called Kingsway Financial Services, KFS, on the New York Stock Exchange. It's a little bit bigger than we typically look for. It's about $230 million market cap, and basically the company is it's a holding company that owns operating subsidiaries in diverse industries, but mainly in the extended warranty space and also in business services. So the company is looking to acquire companies that have a long operating history, that have a lot of recurring revenues, that are profitable, and at hopefully a good valuation as well, and hold them for the long term. And what's interesting about this one is that it's a bit of a turnaround. There's a new CEO in place since 2018, and when he took the reins of the company was in a pretty bad shape, and he decided to make several capital allocation moves. So he divested of some non-core assets, he made some new acquisitions, reduced the debt, simplified the capital structure, and now we're at a point where it's a fairly simple business to understand. The financials are fairly simple compared to what it was before, and we think with an outstanding capital allocator at the helm, this business could compound for several years into the future. What's also interesting about this investment opportunity is that Philip, our analyst, found the company by doing some screening or by using filters, and typically it's not something we have done very often in the past. But Philip started to experiment with some filters, and he found the company that way. So kudos to him for using his creativity to find new opportunities, and we'll certainly keep experimenting with some of those filters going forward to find other new ideas. Now, in terms of outlook, the macroeconomic conditions remain quite uncertain. Inflation is not totally under control yet. We don't know exactly where interest rates will go, and also there's the possibility of a recession later this year or maybe next year. So all those factors make investors very cautious, I think, and they have less risk appetite. So obviously that's not very good for a risky asset class like microcaps. But I think these conditions are only temporary, and as we gain more certainty on how the economy is going, I think eventually investors will increase their risk appetite and will probably look to invest more in risky assets like microcaps, and especially at a time when microcaps are very cheap in historical terms. And also because microcaps are very liquid, I think we could see a very big move to the upside eventually when the risk appetite comes back. And one last thing before the end, Philip and I will attend the Planet MicroCap Showcase conference in Las Vegas in late April. It's a very nice event that we've attended several times in the past. It's a 2.5-day conference. The first half day is for educational panels, and I was fortunate to be invited to be on one of the panels as a speaker. It's the last panel of the day. It's called the Planet MicroCap Podcast Live. So it's actually a podcast that is recorded live at the conference and that will be republished online after. And I was invited alongside 3 other investors or fund managers to talk about the microcap space and maybe discuss about some companies. So definitely when the episode is out on the web, I will share the link so you can listen to it. And also for the rest of the conference, the next 2 days are for company presentations and for one-on-one meetings with the management teams. So it's a very good way for us to accomplish a lot in 2 days. We can do a lot of research and speak with a lot of management teams. So hopefully this would be an opportunity for us to maybe increase our conviction into certain ideas, or maybe find something new that we didn't know about. So we look forward to it, and we'll report on that conference in future updates. So that's it for the February 2023 update. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out. You can also visit our website, rivemont.ca, to find more information on the microcap strategy and also all the other strategies at Rivemont. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you next month.